Hey, what's going on, everybody? The Fish Tank Guy here, and welcome to the Fish Tank Guy podcast. The podcast that you thought no longer existed because I haven't done it since September of last year. So, hey, I'm still here for the 5 or 6 people who listen to the podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in. So, yeah, the last time I did a podcast was September 5th of 2018, and it is April 4th of 2019. That is fairly embarrassing. I'm sorry. But to be honest with you guys, I've just had a lot going on. I haven't really updated my YouTube channel very much. I've been focusing on other things. I've gotten into gaming a lot more lately, so my free time has been consumed with that. But I'm looking to get back into the hobby, get back into podcasting. I checked my numbers of listens on YouTube and on Podbean, where my podcast is hosted, and the numbers are actually pretty good. I essentially, between both services, I get 300 to 400 listens, which I think is really awesome. Now, I don't know if people are listening for 5 minutes or they're listening to the whole, quote unquote half an hour of me blabbering on. But however long you guys listen to the podcast, I really appreciate your support. And I hope to get back to a more regularly, recorded podcasting schedule. I'll put it that way. So the other thing you'll notice about this week is that I'm not doing a video component. I think the other issue is that when I started to incorporate a video component, it just became a little burdensome. There was a lot more preparation. There was a lot more coordination of technology that I needed to do on my end that I'm getting better at, but I still have to prepare a lot more. So on top of the fact that I don't have a ton of extra time to record these things, you have to keep in mind that I've got 2 kids in my house and my wife, of course. So essentially, if I try to record a podcast while everybody else is home, I will be interrupted a million times. So my opportunity of actually recording is fairly, small, that window of opportunity. So for now, I'm just going to go back to the audio format. If there's a strong demand for a video component, I'll definitely do that for you guys. But I think I'd rather get back to doing it more often and just be audio than doing it every few months and include a video as well. So I'm sorry to disappoint some of you, but we're just going to move forward and see how we go. See how it goes. So I'm going to try to keep it to a half an hour. That's the ongoing joke, is that I never keep it to a half an hour. But I'm going to really do my best. I don't have a lot to talk about in terms of non-fish related stuff, so hopefully that part won't be as long. And then my fish topic of the week, which is using salt in a freshwater aquarium, should not be that long of a topic either, so I'm going to try to keep it under half an hour. So in terms of life updates, things are going pretty well. Like I said, it's April. There's March Madness going on. Don't care about it at all. Unfortunately, I haven't been watching a lot of NBA this year either. I've caught a few games that have been interesting. Ultimately, I just want somebody to beat the Warriors. I don't really care about the season all that much because the way that basketball is played now is a lot different than it was when I was younger. And it's just not as enjoyable to me. I hope that they can do something to adjust the game a little bit, balance the league a little bit more. But I just haven't been watching all that much. I haven't been pulled in and drawn into it as much as before. In the same line of basketball, I did coaching again this year. And even though when I started the season, I thought I had a pretty rough team, my team ended up being really awesome. And this year it was 6th and 7th graders. And we ended up winning every game this season except one. So we went 9-1. And the cool thing is the one loss that we had came to the other undefeated team, right? They beat us, and I think they beat us by about 10. But then we played them again the last game of the season, and we won. So that was awesome for us, really happy for them. I mean, they had won every game all year. They had already beaten us. They went into the last game probably feeling sky high, yeah, we're going to go undefeated, boys. Let's go get them, right? And we came out there, we crushed their dreams. We smashed their dreams into pieces. But because there's no championship trophies or playoffs or anything, nobody really cares anyway. But I mean, that's just the way it is now. The league that the league that I taught in or coached in, they didn't have playoffs, they didn't have championships, which I don't really get. But God forbid, at least they kept score. I've heard that in some places they don't even keep score, which is why bother? I mean, I know you don't want people's feelings hurt and whatnot, but like having your feelings hurt and losing and winning, the joys of winning and the lows of losing help you to become a better player, a better person. They push you to work harder. Whereas like if there's no goal, there's no competition, there's nothing to strive for. It's like you don't have any motivation. There's nothing behind it I don't know. I don't get it. Maybe I'm old school, but this 33-year-old man there, he's got a lot of years under his belt. Oh, Judas. Okay. Yeah, other than that, things have been going pretty good lately on a more somber note. Not to bring the podcast down at all, but unfortunately my grandfather passed away a couple weeks ago. He was 95. And he was a really great guy. And even though I was really sad, I felt really blessed that I was able to have him for as long as I did. 95 years, especially for a guy, is a long time. So yeah, just remember to, in your daily life, if you got somebody that you care about who's getting up there in age, go see them and visit them and, take them lunch every now and then. That's what we used to do. And I have a lot of good memories of that. So even though it's like a sad part of my life, sad time in my life, it ultimately came from a lot of happiness and a lot of good things. So I'm sure there are people listening there who have lost somebody who's important to them, and I feel for you. And for those of you who may have not gone through that yet, like I said, just remember to keep those who are important to you close to you, and go visit them and spend time with the people you care about, right? So, all right, moving on from the sadness, let's talk about summer. Summer's coming up. That's exciting. The weird thing about living in Erie is that the summer is like an event, right? It's like an event because we have months and months of cold weather, and there is almost like this expectation that when summer's here, you need to go do something. It's like get outside and do something. Go to an event. Go to a baseball game. Go do something outside because you don't want to waste it because the time is precious. So there's like this like pressure associated with summer. But the summers in Erie are really great. I know a lot of people like down south and out west, they hate summer because it's super hot. But here in Erie, we have really nice, it's like in between 80 and 90. I would say in general, that's kind of where the temperature lands, which is awesome. But yeah, summer's coming up, so I'm excited about that. I'm hopefully going to get more time to do fish tank stuff. I got the basketball hoop up at the end of last summer. I think I talked about that on a podcast. So I'm looking forward to actually using it this summer. I'm excited about that. So that'll be fun. And, I can't wait to go outside and do all the landscaping and rebark the front of the house and, rototill and power wash and replace the pool liner because I drained it too much in the fall. All the great things that summer brings as an adult. They're just amazing, right? Any adults listening, you probably feel the pain that I feel when your kids are like not taking full advantage of the summer. They're just saying there's nothing to do. There's nothing to do. Oh my gosh, it drives me crazy. I can't even, right? I'm sure you guys agree. Other news, been playing the Powerball lately. So we're trying to play the Powerball to win the Powerball, which is, well, what everybody does. And, the jackpot was up to like $500 million, which is really high. I think the chances of winning are like 1 in 300 million, which is, really, really terrible. So right now, that's our retirement plan. I don't know what you guys are doing, but you might be saving money or putting in a 401k or setting up a mutual fund or something, but you should really just play the Powerball. You win a lot more money when you win the Powerball. So we're doing that. We haven't won yet, but you figure lightning's got to strike once. I think you even have a way better chance of getting hit by lightning than you do win the Powerball. But anyway, so let's see what's going on. Okay, we're gonna go into gaming a little bit. Then we're gonna go into 5 movie reviews in 5 minutes or less, and then we'll go into the fish tank topic of the week and the fish of the week. The other cool thing is that I'm going to have, I don't know where I'm posting it yet. Maybe check out my YouTube channel, or the description in Podbean will probably say I'm going to keep an Excel spreadsheet of a list of all the episodes, the fish tank topic in each of the episodes, the fish of the week in each of the episodes, and the movie reviews that I did, so you guys can go back and reference them. Or if you're just now listening to the podcast for the first time, that's awesome of you. Thank you so much for finding me and looking me up. You can look back at some of the old episodes and see if there might be anything you're interested in listening to. So anyway, gaming. I've been trying to add some variety to my gaming lately. I've been playing mostly multiplayer games for the last year. It's been mostly consumed by Fortnite. I know I'm a 12-year-old boy. I can't help it. But Fortnite is actually really fun. And for somebody who's played games as long as I have had, which is almost, well, I'd say it's more than 25 years at this point. The reason that I like Fortnite so much is that the building component brought such a different aspect to gameplay, something that was so entirely different than something that I had played in the last 20 years of gaming. That's why I like it, right? But yeah, so I'm trying to move away from Fortnite a little bit. I still do that when my buddies are online and we play multiplayer, and I do enjoy that still. But this year is going to be the year that I finish a lot of single-player games. I have made the commitment to myself, and I'm going full bore, full steam ahead. So right now, actually yesterday, I finished Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze. I 100%ed the game. I unlocked hard mode, which I'm not going to bother with because the game is freaking hard already. But that game is amazing. Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. It's on the Nintendo Switch or the Wii U, if you have one of those. But I have it on the Switch. It's great. I also just picked up Sekiro, I don't know how you say it, Shadows Die Twice for the Xbox One. It is my first From Software game. I never played any of the Dark Souls games or Bloodborne or anything like that. It's really difficult. It's kicking my butt, but I think it's a really cool game, and I'm enjoying it so far. And actually, I am also playing Halo 1. I have the Halo Master Chief Collection, which I honestly didn't touch for probably the last 2 years. And the other night when I was gaming and none of my buddies were online, I was like, what's another game that I could play solo, single player? And I realized I have never played Halo 1 or Halo 2, like the campaign. And they're considered to be classic games, I think. So I was like, you know what? I should play Halo 1. So, oh my gosh. Sorry. I should play Halo 1. So I'm playing through Halo 1. To be honest with you, the campaign doesn't hold up very good. It's the remastered version, so the graphics are fine, the controls are fine, but the level design and just the funness of it is bad. It's not very good. I'm not a big fan of it, but I'm gonna finish it. Then I'm gonna do Halo 2. I also got Resident Evil 2, the new remake of Resident Evil 2, which I played a little bit, and it's really scary. So, if I'm playing games at night and it's dark outside, I'm like, I'll hold off on that until later. So hopefully I get to that. I also want to beat BioShock Infinite this year. There are a bunch of other single player games that I want to finish. So I'm looking forward to gaming in 2019. If any of you guys are gamers out there, maybe leave a comment or let me know what you're playing or what you think of any of the games that I'm playing. I love talking gaming. If anybody's up for that. All right, now, so let's get into the 5 movie reviews in 5 minutes or less. I'm already at 14 minutes, so okay, I gotta keep it moving here. I'm gonna move kind of quickly through these. The first one that I'm gonna do is Venom. A lot of people didn't really like this movie. They thought it was cheesy. I don't know. I thought it was good. I liked Tom Hardy as Eddie Brock. I thought the action was pretty good. Some of the CGI could use a little work. But overall, if you don't take it seriously, I was really entertained by Venom. I gave it an A-. A lot of people hated it. You might think I'm a moron for giving it an A-, but I thought it was pretty good. The next movie was Widows. It had Liam Neeson in it, and then it had, oh man, I don't have the IMDb page up. It had a bunch of female leads, and it was essentially these women who were dating or married to men that were involved in crime, and their husbands, this is not a spoiler because it's the very beginning of the movie, their husbands pass away in a crime-related accident, and essentially these women are left with their debts that they were not able to service. So these women take it upon themselves to handle these other criminal people, and it's, as you can imagine, it's pretty crazy because they've kind of really never delved into that world before, but it was really interesting. I thought it was good. It could have been a little bit better. I can't really put my finger on it, but maybe they could have fleshed out the story a little bit more. I don't know, but I gave it a B+. I thought it was really good. It was definitely worth watching, so you should check out Widows. Next movie is Instant Family. This stars Mark Wahlberg, and I think her name is Rose something. It's basically about a couple who they don't really want to ever have kids, but then, you know, as they get older, they start really thinking about it and second-guessing their decision, and they end up adopting a family of 3. So they adopt 3 kids. So they go from just wanting 1 kid to getting 3, and I thought it was really good. I thought it was funny. I've obviously never adopted a child, but I know people who have, and a lot of the conversations that were funny, right? But a lot of the conversations and situations in the movie, they really kind of rang true to what I've heard a lot of people go through. Like, there's this one scene where the 2 parents are sitting on the bed, just like they're talking about how terrible their day was, and they're like, oh my gosh, you know, I hate him so much. I can't believe he'd do that. It's so stupid. Why is he being such a jerk, right? Except, you know, they're using, you know, more colorful language. But like in like a sentence later, they're like, oh, but I love him so much, you know. Oh, you know, what are we gonna do without them? And I think it's just like, it was a really good movie, and I thought it was a really realistic view of what adoption and like fostering kids is like. So I definitely enjoyed it. It was way better than I thought it was going to be. I gave it a B+. So these are all good movies this week. The next one is The Mule. That is a Clint Eastwood movie about a really, you know, an older man, Clint Eastwood, who he feels like most of his life he, you know, focused on his work, and now that he's older, he realized that he kind of missed, you know, his family and some of the more important things in life. And in an effort to kind of win back his, you know, relationship with his family, he tries to provide them with monetary things, and he does that by becoming a drug mule for the Mexican cartel. It's based on a true story, which I actually looked up, and it was very interesting reading about. And the movie was really good. Clint Eastwood is a great actor still, very convincing in his role. Just the dialogue, there are a lot of funny parts in it. There are a lot of tense-filled parts in it. It kind of had like I would say it was like an anticlimactic conclusion, but I thought it was a really good movie. So I gave it an A-. The Mule. You should definitely check out The Mule as well. And last but certainly not least is the movie Us. You've probably been hearing about this a lot. We didn't see it opening weekend because we couldn't make our schedules work, but we saw it this past weekend, which was the second weekend it was open, and it was amazing. It was great. I love horror movies. I love movies that are smart. I'll say that they're smart. And I feel like Us was smart. It's one of those movies where a lot of things have double meanings. There are a lot of ways you can read into it or, you know, kind of theorize about it. So we went and saw the movie, and after we watched the movie, we came home and we watched people talk about the movie for probably an hour to an hour and a half. And it was super interesting. And I love a movie that makes you think like that, and that also like gets its hooks in you, and you walk out of the movie theater going, oh man, what do you think that meant? And, you know, what do you think that was about? You definitely have to suspend your disbelief, you know, but it's a movie, right? If it was just like every other movie, if it was realistic, if it was 100% realistic, it wouldn't be interesting, right? Because people don't go to the movies to watch a story about real life. I mean, we enjoy documentaries about real life, and that's fine, but people go to the movies to be entertained and see something different. So Us, awesome. I gave it an A. So if you like horror movies, if you like thinking man's movies, smart movies, go see Us. Acting was great. Horror was great. Story was great. Really enjoyed it. A. Check it out. All right. So now that my freaking voice is almost gone there, all right, we're going to do the fish tank topic of the week, which is using salt in a freshwater aquarium. Okay, so due to the magic of, computers and whatnot, I just took a little break, went upstairs and got something to drink, but it was an instant break for you guys. All right, so anyway, the fish tank topic of the week is using salt in a freshwater aquarium. So, basically I'm just going to talk to you guys about why you would do this, if you should do it, and I'm going to obviously get some other opinions from forums. I love delving into the forums. So, okay, the first website I used here is the Spruce. I've used them numerous times before. The article is just called Using Salt in a Freshwater Aquarium. All right, next time your fish is sick, the remedy might not be farther away than your kitchen table. Not true. You're not supposed to use table salt, okay? Don't do that. All right, so they've kind of got their article broken down. When to use salt. Nitrite poisoning. The addition of 1/2 ounce of salt per gallon of water is beneficial in the prevention of nitrate poisoning in a newly set up tank. Keep in mind that scaleless fish cannot tolerate much, if any, salt. Parasites. Many parasites can effectively be treated with the use of salt. When not to use salt. Live plants. If you have live plants in your aquarium, avoid using salt. And also if you have scaleless fish, as they previously mentioned. They then say, contrary to popular view, it is not advisable to add salt to your aquarium on an ongoing basis unless the fish require brackish water conditions. So that's going to be like cichlids, right? And whatnot. Okay, so type and quantity of salt. Common table salt is suitable. I already don't agree with this article, right? But I'm just going to keep going. However, it should be non-iodized and contain no additives. Rock or kosher salt are excellent choices, as they are straight sodium chloride with nothing else added. So then it says you can do a dip, you can do a bath. That's if your individual fish are sick. A dip, when treating parasites, a dip is a method of choice. Place 4 teaspoons of salt in a clean bucket, then slowly add 1 gallon of water from the aquarium, swirling to dissolve the salt. Once the salt is completely dissolved, place the fish in the bucket for 5 to 30 minutes. Observe the fish closely. If any signs of distress are observed, return the fish to the original aquarium immediately. And then you have performing a bath. A bath is ideal when treating an entire tank for prevention of nitrite poisoning, or they go between nitrite and nitrate in this article, or for reduction of stress. So the Spruce is not cutting it for me this time. And I'll explain to you why, because I'll read this article about table salt, okay? Because they said, oh, yeah, just use table salt. All right, so now I'm on petsonmom.me. Ugh, sounds like a weird website. All right, aquarium salt versus table salt. Okay, while it may seem a little counterintuitive to add salt to a freshwater fish tank, some aquarists believe that adding salt will benefit the fish. Not all experts believe salt in a freshwater tank is a good thing. But most agree that if you do add salt, it should be the right kind of salt. Okay, let me get to the point here. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Table salt or sodium chloride usually contains iodide, potassium, and an agent to keep the salt from caking due to humidity. If you purchase non-iodized salt, you won't worry about the iodine, but the caking agent is dangerous to fish. Okay? That's what they say about table salt right off the get-go. So the Spruce, when they were like, oh yeah, go ahead, use table salt. I'm reading other articles that say do not use table salt. So we've already got some kind of differing opinions here. Let's move to another article. This one is on Aqua World Aquarium, and the title is Adding Salt to a Freshwater Aquarium, When and When Not to Add Salt. All right. The practice of adding salt to freshwater aquariums has been around as long oh my goodness, I can't read today, has been around almost as long as the hobby. There are several reasons why hobbyists add salt to the aquarium: stress reduction, medicating, adding hardness, and for fish commonly found in brackish water. Well, that's irrelevant. Brackish water, has salt in it. You're supposed to. It has become a common practice for employees of big box stores to tell all of their freshwater customers to add a teaspoon of salt per 10 gallons. That's interesting. However, this is not a practice most advanced hobbyists partake in, nor recommend. Before you add salt to a freshwater aquarium, you should understand why you are doing so and any of the possible side effects. Okay, let's see. Freshwater fish are adapted to water with salt content that is measured in parts per million versus seawater, which is measured in parts per thousand. In many cases, freshwater has very low salt content in nature. And in some areas of the world, like tropical rainforests, it can be so minute it is undetectable. Let's see. The next thing says most freshwater plants do not tolerate much salt at all. So that's consistent with the previous article. And if you're trying to keep live plants, salt as a general rule should be avoided. Some species of fish from very soft water, such as the Plecostomus suckermouth catfish, do not tolerate much salt either. And the addition of salt with these fish should be avoided. So that's kind of like you've got your sensitive fish, you've got your scaleless fish, and you've got live plants. If you have any of those things, salt in your freshwater tank can actually cause more harm than good. Okay, so then they get to the next point here. Salt as a medicine. The most important use of salt is for medicating freshwater fish for some types of ectoparasites. Some of the common parasites that are known to be killed by salt are ick, costia, and anchorworms. To kill these parasites with salt, you need to add a lot of salt, about 1.5 cups of salt per 10 gallons. Wow. To the aquarium, not just a teaspoon per 10 gallons. And then they go into some of the specifics. So for you guys, when I had more freshwater tanks than saltwater tanks, I actually used salt on occasion. One of the biggest snafus that I performed when I was first in the hobby is that I like to push the limits of how many fish I could put in my tank. So my freshwater tank was I had a 20 gallon, and I think I had like 13 or 14 fish in there. And I was like, if I'm gonna have this tank, I want there to be a lot of fish in there, man, because I want to be entertained. Entertain me, fish, swim around, make me happy, right? But the issue was I was overcrowding the tank, and I didn't do a good job of doing water changes on a weekly basis. So I would notice fish that would start to get things like ick, and then I would put salt in the water to help reduce their stress and eliminate some of the ick. Did it always work? No. Some of the fish died, but sometimes it did work. And it helped the fish to not only survive, but they improved more quickly, and they were less stressed. So sometimes it depends on what's going on in your tank, but salt can be used for medicine. Now, the question is, should you have salt in your freshwater tank all of the time, or just in specific situations, like when you need to medicate the tank? Let's read the forums first before I give you guys my final opinion. All right. So we are on aquariumadvice.com. And the title of the forum topic is, should I add salt to my freshwater aquarium? We're going to go over 30 minutes because that's how we do it here on the Fish Tank Guy podcast. So throw the 30-minute thing out the window. All right. Cool Hand writes, after reading and debates on the net, I am trying to decide if I should add a little salt to my freshwater aquarium. If so, how much is recommended? I have a meter to measure and keep track. What are your general thoughts on this? Okay, Bruins Bro, 1997, which means he's 12 years older than me, which means he's 21. Yee. Salt isn't really needed. IMO, I would only use it purely for treating ick, but even that's running a little bit of risk, as some fish are more sensitive to it than others. Also, if you have a planted tank, salt does some damage to plants, okay? Now we've got MFD Rookie, 516, salt is only needed if treating for certain diseases or for emergency use in the event of high nitrite levels. Otherwise, it's useless. I've even read that using salt on a normal basis can lead to salt-resistant strains of ick and other diseases, requiring the use of meds to treat, rather than just using salt to treat in those instances. Library Girl says, I have a freshwater tank and she talks like this because she is in a library. I have a freshwater tank and I don't add salt and wouldn't unless I needed it to treat it for an illness. Okay, that's what Library Girl says. Cool Hand replied. He said, no salt it is. Winky face. Thanks, everyone. Cheers. Let's see. Fish Guy 2727 says you don't need salt in a freshwater tank, and he's got salt and fresh capitalized, unless you were trying to turn it into a salt capitalized water tank or brackish. Fresh water fish evolved in fresh water for millions of years. Their origins can't handle excessive salt levels all the time without long-term damage. It is great to have on hand. It is amazing on helping to treat stress. If adding salt produces a positive change in your freshwater tank, something else is wrong and needs to be addressed. B. Bradbury has a wall of text. Didn't read. Let's see. Fish Guy. I'm back to Fish Guy. He's got another response here. High quality food and water will prevent and treat 95% of the problems out there. Using salt is a band-aid that may hide the symptoms instead of fixing the real problem long term. Quick Cure is great medicine for treating ick, but you shouldn't use it all the time. I guess the science of fresh water is a little over some people's heads. Let's see. Got one more page here. And it only has one response, which is Fish Guy 2727. Okay, so there was the forums. Thank you to the forums. Thank you to the people over there at aquariumadvice.com there for having people's opinions up there. So now, guys and gals, my opinion on this is don't put salt in your freshwater aquarium. You should have some salt on hand, and you should have aquarium salt. And actually, when you go to a store like Petco or a local fish store, they will have salt that is meant for a freshwater tank. And, you should only be using that salt if you're trying to treat something. If you're trying to lower the stress of your fish due to an event, if you are noticing some white spots on your fish, you can use salt to treat that. But I would not have salt in your water all the time. The other issue is that, as you put salt in, and your fish become accustomed to it, but then you get more fish or newer fish in the future and you put them directly in that salt water, they might just bite it. Who knows, right? So, yeah, I would avoid using salt in a freshwater aquarium, but you can use it to treat diseases and illnesses, different things like that. Okay, so let's move on to our Fish of the Week, ladies and gentlemen. Fish of the Week. This week's Fish of the Week is the Banggai Cardinalfish. All right, the Banggai Cardinalfish. I've got them up on Live Aquaria here. And I'm going to take you through some of the stats, the overview. And do we have comments? We have comments. We have comments, ladies and gentlemen. All right, quick stats. Easy care. Oh, my gosh. Care level, easy. Diet carnivore. I'm fading fast. Reef compatible, yes. Max size 3 inches. Minimum tank size 30 gallons. No. I would say you could keep a pair of these in a 10-gallon tank. If they start to get big, then you need to get a bigger tank, but you don't need a 30-gallon tank for these, that's for sure. All right, now we're going to read the overview. I'm going to read the overview in a pleasant manner, okay? The Cowdern's cardinal, also known as the Banggai cardinalfish or longfin cardinalfish, is a very attractive fish with a simple yet sophisticated color scheme and marking. Its overall body coloration is a shimmering silver highlighted with pearly white spots. Bold black stripes along the body accentuate the long fins to elegant effect. Live Aquaria proudly offers captive bred cardinalfish bred and reared in Indonesia and Asia. I don't care. House the Banggai cardinalfish in a well-filtered 30 or 10 or larger aquarium aquascaped with a generous amount of live rock. Carefully arrange the aquarium landscape to create plenty of caves, overhangs, and crevices, as well as an open area for swimming. You can also add a den, a flat screen TV, and a beanbag chair for the Banggai cardinalfish's comfort level. How's the cardinalfish with peaceful tank mates as it is a slow and methodical swimmer due to its aggressive behavior towards conspecifics? The Banggai Cardinalfish should be kept individually or as a bonded pair. I'm going to skip some. The cardinalfish is relatively easy to breed, and I don't care about that either. It should be fed a well-balanced diet of meaty foods such as feeder shrimp, marine flesh, bloodworms, and depending on its size, live feeder fish. All right, there you have the Banggai Cardinalfish. Let's look at the customer testimonials. Sherry K there, Sherry's Berries from Hillsdale, Wyoming said, "This is a nice, peaceful little fish. I have a pair and I'm thinking of getting more. When I first added them to the tank," I got to talk like Sherry, "one wedged itself between the glass and the rock and I had to free it, but it recovered. They get along very well with my clownfish and have not bothered my shrimp at all, I can tell. They eat mysis and cyclops, but appreciate live brine shrimp as a treat. Wee." All right, Seth from Usippa, California says, "These cardinals are extremely easy to acclimate, dude." He's in Cardinalfish, so he's a surfer. "No one should have any problem caring for these little guys." All right, we've got Casey Guntersville from Guntersville, Alabama. Is his name the same as his city, or did he put that on accident, or did he create the city? I don't know. Wonderful active fish. Mine were eating straight out of the bag. That's how they talk in Alabama. I ordered 3 and all made it, but 2 have paired up and left the third out of the group. But the third has plenty of room, so no fighting has happened. I highly recommend these for anyone with a fish tank there. And then we have, last but not least, Mary C. from Oakley, California. "I have 3 of these little fish. It took a couple of weeks for all 3 to come out of hiding, but now they come to the front of the tank when I walk up. They are doing very well and are quite beautiful up close." Or close up, excuse me. All right, so there you have it. There's the Banggai Cardinalfish, the freaking fish of the week there. I've had a couple of them. They didn't make it, but they're really cool. And I got them early on in the hobby when I didn't know what I was doing. So it wasn't their fault. It was mine. So anyway, hey, thank you guys for checking out the podcast. I look forward to filming it or recording it or whatever I'm doing more often. I hope you guys keep tuning in. If you could leave me some comments or give me some feedback, that'd be really awesome. Hey, I hope you guys have a great week. I hope you have a great month. I hope you have a great 6 months if you don't hear from me, but you will hear from me probably within the next few weeks. So, yeah, man, keep on fishing on, and thanks, guys. I will talk to you soon. See ya.